if your product does not have a role in the consumer's life, I think that's where you start to get it wrong. If you ever see anybody telling you that my target market is everybody, then they're not getting and they're not targeting anybody, right?
Okay.
Marketing is more long term. I feel like it's just a way to set yourself up for a successful sales period in the future.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kenganda. My name is Johnny Tamai, and this is the REPAT Podcast. Now, let our guest right here tell us who he is.
I'm Hillary Baguma.
Yes.
First and foremost, I'm a husband.
Wow.
I'm a father of 3 sons.
Oh.
And I'm a very passionate marketer.
Well, thank you.
I just found out I need to get married, have 3 kids. I'm not that good at marketing, but I'm next to somebody who is O'Shea Duke Jackson, Sacramento, California.
Yeah. We should take this one.
So Hillary is a very talented brother. He's kind of in a way like a mentor to us in some of the things we're trying to do here with Kenganda. And I was hanging out at his place. We won't name it right now. He'll name it later. Zimbali restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
Zimbali. And we were talking about marketing and how it's so difficult for just people anywhere in the world. But in particular, those people who might be coming to consider Uganda as a home or a market. And we have a lot of Ugandans that are living abroad in Dubai, Europe, America, and looking to get back into the African market scene and have never had to own a business or market a business. And they're going to find some struggles going into that. And I just kind of wanted to get your take on, number one, is this a good place, Uganda, for business? And how do you get your products out to marketing if you don't know anything about marketing? How do you start?
Yes, Uganda is a very good place for business.
Okay.
Uganda is really like open season. Like that's not that many restrictions compared to like other countries. I know about countries that have very strong protectionism policies.
Okay.
So, for example, it's only locals allowed to own businesses and get licenses and stuff like that. Short answer to that question is yes, Uganda is a very good place for business. It's open season for everybody. The licenses are easy to get. Land ownership, business ownership, all-round partnership, because Ugandans generally are very collaborative people. They're very hospitable. Ugandan economy literally runs on forces of demand and supply with not so much interference with government and other things.
Okay.
The other thing to consider also is, of course, the tax regime. But there's taxes in every country and every economy, every market. Compared to some countries I know in Africa, in Europe, and elsewhere, the taxes are also not as bad. So Uganda is a good place to do business. Our costs of production are relatively low. Okay, let's say manageable.
Manageable. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
They are manageable. There's plenty of talent in terms of people that get to work. There's so many opportunities as well.
Right.
Yeah. And I feel like we have a lot of untapped resources that we could just channel the right way to just create business opportunities for people that are in the country, out of the country, potentially looking to do business or already doing business. Yes. So it's a very good place to do business.
And that I have found that to be true, even though I do complain to you about certain things I got going on. But you're a marketing person, and marketing is hard, even for us marketing this podcast or marketing a dating show. What would you? How do you start? Imagine you're a person coming back from the Ugandan diaspora or African American community, wherever you come in the Ugandan market, and you don't know anything about marketing.
Yeah,
but you have a good product or good service. What do you tell these people?
The thing that just will really demystify what marketing is I think we overthink what marketing is, to be honest. At the heart of it, at the soul of marketing, it's really so simple. It's about the consumer.
Okay.
It's just really putting yourself in the shoes of the consumer. It may be an oversimplification in a way, but ideally, you need to understand your consumer, because you need to identify their needs and their wants. You need to anticipate them. Yeah, you need to try and anticipate what they're going to want, sometimes even before you want them. And then lastly, like how do you meet the needs? Yeah, and that's what an entrepreneur does.
Okay.
And so marketing is just to basically help you to get across that. So it's to identify, anticipate, satisfy those needs of the consumer. And ideally, it's just, most, because most products, everything that's done, product services are here to solve a problem, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if if there's a problem to be solved, it's been identified. So it's just literally how do you solve it, and how do your consumers know that you're solving it?
Okay, let me just ask questions. I know that you're in a pretty large industry here.
Yes.
And what you do professionally. But let's say, for example, you have a product or a service. You're looking for 18 to 34 female. Like for our YouTube channel, we have analytics. It tells us where they're coming from, what city.
Yeah.
So it's very, very easy to find this out. But when you're trying to get on the ground, because, Uganda's about being on the ground, interacting with people, and you have a product that's like 18 to 34 female. Give us an example for somebody who might not know, never done this, but they're trying to be in the Kampala region. Let's say this is going to be a new something for women, clothing brand, jewelry. It could be a wine, whatever. How do they start to try to market this particular product to that particular demographic?
I think it starts from what the product, the brand is supposed to do in the lives of the consumer, right?
Okay, so it's like branding.
Who's 18 to 34, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is the role of this brand, this product in their lives? So if your product does not have a role in the consumer's life, I think that's where you start to get it wrong, right?
Okay.
So it has to have a role, and you have to understand it very well, because if you understand it very well, it helps you to be very focused and single-minded on how to solve the problem that they have using or via that very product, right? Once that is established, once you know very well what that product's supposed to do, it's easy to communicate to them. So that's the next step is you need to create a relationship with this consumer. So relationship via marketing terms comes via three key avenues, if I may call them that, right? So the first thing is awareness. Like, I cannot have a relationship with you, with anybody, if they don't know me, if I don't know them.
Okay.
Right. So awareness is very important. Yeah. So if I want to market, let's say a sherry to an 18 to 29, 34-year-old old person, they have to know about it, right? So I need to create awareness. And how do I do that? Is I need to reach them where they are.
Right.
Yeah, because there's a million distractions these days in terms of social media, in terms of traditional media, in terms of other things to do. Like, there's just too much going on in the world right now. It would be a bit arrogant to think that there's a certain person just waiting for your information.
Okay, absolutely right.
So that's the first step. Is so how you make that easy is, one, you find people in their places of comfort. So most people right now find a lot of comfort and time on their phones. So it's an easy place to start. The good thing is your podcast, for example, has very good analytics that give you the exact details.
Right.
So it's easy to know where to find these people that you want to communicate to. Then secondly, on top of finding them, that helps you to get the right media, right? It would be counterproductive if a recruitment firm, for example, were on OnlyFans.
Well,
unless it was the pimping, recruiting for some 304s.
Okay, it depends on what they're recruiting, right?
Okay.
Yeah. It would be a bit if I'm promoting a mass product that's for each and everybody.
Yes.
I will probably rather be on Facebook, for example, than on LinkedIn.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So it's important to know where to find the person that you're speaking to. Secondly, it's important to speak to them in the language or in a way that they understand.
Okay. So let me just make sure I understand that, because I'm learning myself now too. Because firstly, where are these people congregating? Right now in the African market, I think probably in Uganda, you see a lot of people on TikTok for sure.
Yeah.
Facebook, not as much, but like TikTok. I think you also said, how do you communicate with them?
Yeah.
Now, this might be a big issue for somebody like myself, coming from the Western world. And when I look at, let's say, how Ugandans consume content and the way they do comedy is much different than maybe how we may do it.
Yeah.
So it's a disconnect. And how do Ugandans communicate, or how do they want to receive this language of how to do business? What if you're a person and you're like, like me, and we're just completely, are Ugandan American or Ugandan British person, they've been away for so long, they're disconnected as to how to communicate with Ugandan customers.
So I think that's a common thing. Like when you look at when you look deeply into what communication really is, because I think that's what promotion is all about, right? It's how do you communicate to your consumer to create that awareness and the effects that come with, right? So it's first of all important, as I'd said, to communicate in the way that they will understand. However, take an example of new products and people have come up from new places, and there'll always be an element of novelty in any market. As long as you're a marketer, you'll definitely come across that. And even when you're in the market with existing products, there'll definitely be new. So there's always an element of novelty. And whenever that is, so there's just some things that you have to be cognizant about. So the first is you have to be aware that you will have to teach. So part of your awareness is to educate. And educating goes back to communication still.
Okay.
Let's say you've come from the US, California, right? And you, let's say, left Uganda a while back and just coming back and you want to start business again. There's a chance that if you speak to your consumers the way you've been speaking to the people in the diaspora, the people that you've been with in the US or wherever, there will likely be a disconnect.
Okay.
You probably may not get the tone of voice right. You'll probably be tone deaf to some things that are culturally relevant here, and you may not consider them important. So there is a very keen importance in communicating the way your people speak. That does not mean that you have to be unauthentic, right? And there are ways to do that. So we've seen global companies coming to Uganda and actually becoming successful. And the two things that they do is, one, either they adapt or they maintain their authenticity, and the consumers that they attract are the consumers that are in line with who they are or what they are or the product that they're actually serving up. So it literally goes back to what is the purpose in the life of your product in the consumer's life. So if there's a grand purpose, your consumers are going to look for you, whether you speak English, Indian, American, or anything else.
Okay.
Yeah, let's say our viewers and someone who watches us wants to has a product they're bringing onto the market, but there's a difference between the urban, should I say, population, and then the guys in the rural areas and whatnot. Yeah. How would you market to the two parties? So
firstly, you know how I said marketing is all about creating a relationship with the consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on top of awareness, like creating that awareness, like you have to know each other. Two is they have to mean something. They have to mean something to you, right? And it still goes back to every relationship, right? If I mean a lot to you, you'll probably have more regard for me than somebody else who doesn't, stranger off the street, right?
True.
So it's the same thing when you create meaning for your product in the consumer's lives. They'll probably gravitate a lot more towards you, right? And so how do you harness that when you're looking at a product that has two different, that you're looking to serve different markets with the same product, for example? So there's a thing we call differentiating.
Okay.
Yeah, so you just make slight changes, and those changes could be in the way the product is served. Give an example. Johnny Walker has Red Label that serves a specific market.
Yes.
But it also has Black Label, Double Black, Green Label, and those are potentially different markets. Right?
Yeah. Is it also blue, right?
There's also Blue Label.
My brother loves the blue. It's very expensive.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's literally the same brand but serving different consumer bases. Yeah. So if you're looking to satisfy a mass audience, you could create or modify your product to serve that in. And how you do that is you create access, you make it more available, and that you can do through price, for example. So you make it a little bit more affordable for more people. If at the same time you want to have a premium offering, you could probably change prices, put it in specific places, make it a little bit more niche, change the branding. So it's ideally how do you fashion your particular product to serve the different markets in a way that actually works for them. Yeah.
Okay.
So if I differentiate something in a way that doesn't mean to somebody, then they're not going to pick it up.
Right.
Yeah. So even the differentiation has to keep the consumer in mind.
Okay.
And do something that will create functional or emotional benefit to them.
How do you feel about, there's Facebook ads, there's TikTok ads. I know like a lot of marketing goes towards Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, sometimes Google. And most people from the diaspora or from Uganda will participate in these things. A lot of businesses are using these things on Facebook fan pages, things like that. How is that, in your opinion, in marketing a person's business or a brand to get a particular market they're looking for? How effective do you believe that it could be? Or?
I think it's one of those things that could go either way. Okay. And the lines are very simple. A few people do those ads just as let me call it a tick box exercise, as the end in mind. Sorry, as the end in itself, right? You should not do Google ads just for the sake of doing Google ads or just to tick something on your to-do list. It needs to be focused on the cause. Like, you have an end in mind. What am I trying to achieve by doing that?
Right.
And so if you think that way first, it's going to lead you to make good decisions on who you're targeting.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you're doing those ads, you'll have to pick your audience right. And if you don't understand who you're serving, chances are you're going to serve. If you ever see anybody telling you that my target market is everybody, then they're not getting, and they're not targeting anybody, right? Okay. If you know your consumers well and you know how to target, you, for example, get the analytics, right? So you will know the timing and the kind of message you're putting out. How do you craft that? That's also important. Okay. There are some messages which are crafted in a way that they're going to be easily ignored. Sometimes they won't even stand out at all. You just scroll past. And so you've been telling me about how algorithms will reject some messages just because. Yes. So it's important to get your audience right, get your messaging right, and that's both visually, verbally, like what the content that you're writing, how does it look like, what kind of graphics are you using? Are you using video, stills? Video is actually a more like people actually prefer.
Yeah, it performs better.
Video to still. Yes. And that's, I think, partly why TikTok is the fastest growing. Yeah. One of the fastest growing platforms at the time.
So video
time. So yeah. So I hope that answers your question.
No, it does. And I want to tell people, the Facebook ads thing, Instagram ads thing, it definitely is cost effective, but we're still trying to figure it out ourselves, So let's continue.
Now, I wanted to ask some of the unique challenges you face as a marketer in Uganda.
Oh yeah, that's a very interesting question. Well, I didn't think that question would be this hard.
Because you don't face any challenges, and you guys are living large.
You know what's interesting is being a marketer. First of all, you're misunderstood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, being a marketer in Uganda is a very marketing in Uganda is a very misunderstood profession. So you have your own workmates probably think that you're a cost center. You're just there to spend their money. Yeah? So you find, and it's common in most places, that finance guys, marketing guys rarely get along. Yeah. So if you work for an organization and you're a marketer where your finance guys and the marketing guys actually have a good relationship, don't take it for granted. Secondly, the people think that marketers are there to just give out T-shirts and do promotions, and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's a big challenge. The other challenge, though, is not many organizations actually devote the right amount of resources to marketing. I'm honestly blessed that I work for an organization that is very deliberate about how about marketing spend. Yes, but I know colleagues in the industry who are literally have to struggle and over-explain just to get
some money
approval, like some money to and usually what they'll get is not commensurate to the objectives that they're required to fulfill. I don't know, but as a market, I feel like very many of our organizations are very sales and cost driven. Yeah, so marketing is about a relationship. A relationship is not something whereby you're going to get benefits immediately. If you meet your soulmate, let's say at Zimbali, you won't just walk up to her and say, "Hey, will you marry me?" immediately. Yeah. So even if you both are soulmates, that would be, the quickest way it will end. So I think that's what marketing is. So marketing is about creating a relationship, understanding each other, taking time, building it all the way up, right? But most objectives are quick objectives of I want to turn around tomorrow. I want the sale to be made now. Why aren't we, growing by this percentage? Yeah. So I think there's a bit of a disconnect in understanding marketing goals and sales goals. So most people look at trying to solve sales problems through marketing. Marketing is more long term. I feel like it's just a way to set yourself up for a successful sales period in the future.
Okay.
Even when you're doing marketing efforts, like it's important to have a percentage of efforts that are going to create equity or create future success for your brand, short-term, long-term success for your brand. Yeah, but right now, I think there's a big bias towards looking at quick, immediate results.
Let me ask you this, because you work in an industry, we won't name it, but you have a restaurant, obviously. You have these, I don't know what the name it is, but there's a experiential marketing. So a lot of people are doing marketing online. What's interesting, which I see Uganda is very good at in comparisons to Europe or the States, there are a lot of events that happen in Uganda. People want to get out. They want to talk to each other. They want to interact. It ain't like us, like, all right, man, send me the money on PayPal or Zoom or, no. It's like you have to meet somebody. You have to go and do things.
Yeah.
And one of the things I could say that, some of the brands that I see doing that here, Britam, which is one of my favorite brands. I see, you have Oktoberfest, Tusker, Blakers of Wines. A lot of experiential ideas happen in person. And I noticed that is also a different way to interact. For most of us coming from the States, we feel like, okay, we can just solely do this online.
Yeah.
But when like we have the Pan-African Dating Show, for example, and now it's like, okay, we actually need to interact with this live with our audience.
Yeah.
How important is, if you have a product or service, to do experiential marketing where people can lively interact with it versus just, okay, I'm marketing online, I'm marketing, here and there.
Yeah.
And in a particular market, obviously like Kampala, Kigali, Rwanda, places like that, how important is experientially letting people interact with what you do?
Yeah, so first there's definitely a very big push towards online and sort of like out of range events, marketing, interaction. Right?
Yes.
It became more pronounced. I think the pandemic exacerbated it, especially in Africa. Like we're really social people, especially in Uganda.
Very
in
social.
Uganda, we're extremely sociable.
Yeah.
And I think it's human nature, but in Uganda, we are extremely sociable people. We love to be in the company of each other. We love to. You pick the vibe and the energy off of that, and it's an underrated but extremely powerful gift that we still have as a country, right? I've seen it eroded in places that I've been to, and it's bad. Like you have to do a lot in order to get people out of the house and together. But yeah, we still have an advantage where people still will get the vibe off of each other, and the energy just grows into something big. It's a very good moment in time right now because the experiences actually create a benefit for the individuals. Now, some brands may authentically or even unauthentically at times find themselves being able to fit in some of those spaces, or sometimes find themselves able to galvanize those experiences. I give an example of right now, if anybody wants to go to a comedy show in Uganda, you'll think about Uganda Waraji. You'll go to probably drive there thinking about, you probably choose your clothes thinking about the cocktail that you're going to have. You know what I mean? It easily galvanizes the experience, and the consumer fits right into it. So yes, experiential marketing still has a lot of potential in Uganda. It's still really rich. The unfortunate thing, it's my personal feeling though, I feel like people already like do a lot of what's already happening. Yeah. So you find like go out on a Friday night, and 8 out of 12 bars or hangouts you go to are doing the same exact things, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll find that events, people, hosts that are doing something slightly different or more interesting are going to find like there'll be a higher inclination towards what they're doing. So experiential marketing is very important. I think the fact that we're innately social beings will give it drive and impetus beyond even now. And I think it's still growing. I think people just need to do to curate experiences that are rich for the consumer and are rich and valuable for the person. And there will be like a trickle down effect for everybody, like the brands that are going to be a part of it to help make it happen. You talked about Oktoberfest, for example.
Oktoberfest,
yeah. Everybody's looking forward to that because it's even beyond. It's it's experience of how we're going to all be together, and guess who's galvanizing and bringing it together as the glue. Yeah, it's going to be Bell. You see,
right?
Give an example of Nyege Nyege. Like everybody's looking forward to a new experience, and at the heart of it, it's about like the culture and the artists, the promoting the country and things like that. Yeah, but at the end of the day, like it's not just the one thing that's going to bring the people together for that, and everybody's looking for it because it kind of fits into what the consumer is looking for, and is going to benefit from. I feel like I went on and on.
No,
but it's insightful.
Yes, insightful.
We're all learning. We're listening.
I just think like again, being in let me just say it with a Kinganda.
Yeah.
When we first started the business, we didn't interact so much with people from Uganda. It was if American, like Obatunda was here, but now we find ourselves interacting a lot more. We did interact with Ugandans, but like it's becoming more of a core of our business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with the Pan-African Dating Show, that product was exclusively made to interact, and now it's like, okay, now we're forced to experiential things. So partnerships might be on the line and things that we just can't do. But I think a lot of people need to understand that if they're going to come to the continent, come to Uganda, you have a product or service, you will be doing collaborations, you will be out there, you will be doing your experiential marketing, you'll be doing your Facebook marketing. It's hard. I guess, let me say this. Let's say for your person that you don't know how to do this, do you feel like there's a person you can hire that can do that for you, or you can train somebody to do that for you? How do you think that works if you're...
I think the Kinganda Dating Show is a perfect example, right?
The Pan-African.
So it's a Pan-African dating show. It's a perfect example of how it works, right? It's because at the end of it all, like there's something deeper than just like these people just being in a space. There's a consumer need that's being solved.
Yes.
There's a real issue being addressed. There's a real itch being scratched. I don't know.
Yeah.
So there's something real that the show is actually solving and speaking to, and it's extremely relevant and meaningful. Yeah, and so I think that's a good basis. It's a good place for you to start. And so and you will find that because of that, and that connects what I said in the beginning, the purpose, the role of the show in the consumers' lives. And that is what will help you to evolve when you listen to your consumers. So you're going to see more, for example, an evolution in the audience. I love the fact that you've listened to it and curated some experiences that cater to and appeal to Ugandans. Yeah. The more you listen to your audience, you will see that, for example, there'll probably be a call to an experiential event and not just an online type of evolution. I think it's about the purpose and how do you live it authentically. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And how does that come out? So if, for example, there are people who are not willing to participate in the dating show and there was no reason for them, you'll probably not, there'll probably be people either following or participating.
Right.
But your audience is growing, the participants are growing, and that's because it's a real thing that lives and exists in the consumers' hearts and minds, right? Now, to answer your question is yes, they're actually people you can hire, the companies you can hire to do your experiential for you. I keep telling people Uganda is a pool of talent. Like we're immensely talented in different ways. Sometimes it comes out very overtly and sometimes a bit more covert. So sometimes you may need to do training, sometimes you may need to give direction.
Okay.
Or sometimes you hire the professional to get the job done immediately. But yes, there's lots of options if you're coming in from the diaspora, if you're coming in from a new country and you want to, there's an immense pool of talent in Uganda. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. We've learned so much from this episode.
Yeah, me too.
That was perfect. Or should you have anything else you'd like to ask him?
No, I'm just this wine has made me a little bit sleepy, but it was great. I mean, I hope that
V&A.
for those people, shout out to V&A.
Yeah.
Put the bottle up there.
Yeah.
Buy you a bottle.
I already finished mine.
Yeah, and I think this is good because so many people wanted to hear, at least we can go into good detail next time, but for people that are that would know what challenge they would need to come back here, marketing is definitely something that you need to know, research, who are you reaching? I was talking to you about it a little bit earlier, just finding out who our audience is, who we think they are.
I think that's very important, very, very important. You need to know your audience very well, because you cannot have a connection with somebody who
you don't know.
Who you don't know, yeah.
You need to be on the ground to figure that out. Like, I've been here 15 months now. I've learned more in this 15 months straight than I've learned in the other, let's say 5 or 6 years I was here.
Oh, I see.
I was just hypothesizing what I thought I knew, and I didn't know anything. I still don't know anything. I know much more than before. Yeah. So.
Yeah. But Hillary, tell people where they can find you.
Oh, well, I'm easy to find. Well, on Friday evenings you find me at Zimbali.
Of course.
Saturdays too.
It's Lumumba. What's the location?
It's plot 44 Lumumba Avenue.
Yeah.
I'm also a CIM tutor.
What?
CIM tutor.
CIM.
At Data Mine. Yeah, I work with Uganda Breweries Limited. I'm very proud of that. I'm at Bigger Hillary on X. At Bigger Hillary on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put those in the first comment pinned to the top.
And Hillary Baguma on LinkedIn.
Okay, perfect. Oshay?
I don't have anything else to say. Thank you for coming and sharing, experience with those of us who in the diaspora. I think it's like maybe the first time I've seen this in a podcast setting where there's a marketing episode for those people who, even if you're here in Uganda, it wouldn't matter. Anywhere in Africa, this is I think it's across the board.
Yeah. It was a very insightful episode. I mean, I kept getting ideas as he was talking.
Nice.
Kept clicking.
You gonna be rich?
Guys, I hope. If you want to send us an email, you can send us an email at teamkenganda@gmail.com and follow us on all our social media pages at Kenganda Nation. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.